Ms. Shaw,
Good here. Good morning.
Mr. Kennedy,
I am here.
Mr. Carney,
Present.
Mr. Golden,
Here.
Mr. Freed.
Present.
We have quorum, Chair. And Mr. Davis? We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Why don't we, since Steve's here, why don't we approve the minutes for the June 12th meeting? Are there any questions? Proposed suggested revisions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve. So, thank you. Second. Second. All in favor, please indicate with aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Would you like to proceed to the second item on the agenda?
Yes, why don't we look at this thing?
Should I make a few comments about?
Would you please also?
Okay. The governance committee is a committee of the board. The members, there are to be 3 members. They are appointed by the chair, and then a chair of the governance committee is designated by the chair. The purposes of the governance committee are to periodically review the board documents, such as the bylaws and the charters of the governance committee and the audit committee, and if appropriate, recommend to the board any changes that the committee recommends to those documents. The committee is also to recommend to the board the adoption of any additional policies that it believes to be desirable, and it is to oversee the board's governance practices, including transparency, independence, accountability, fiduciary responsibilities, and management oversight. Those are a few of the responsibilities of the governance committee. And at this time, we currently have no members serving on the governance committee, but Mr. Chair, I believe you have a proposal.
I do indeed. I have asked that we serve Arlene, Joe Bentley, and John Gordon. John is chair. Everybody I think is on board. I've heard no objections yet, so I think we're doing this. But we have to approve the resolution. Everybody's looking at the resolution. We've got a chance to look at it. Soon you have, may I have a motion please to approve? All in favor, please indicate with aye. Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you so much for bringing this up. One of the first things I think we're going to ask the governance committee to look at is that the state ADO's office, New York State Authority's Budget Office, recently released a model conflict of interest policy. Our current code of ethics covers both conflicts of interest and code of ethics, but we are going to ask the governance committee to see if perhaps they should be split out. And we will be communicating with you over the course of the next month. Another thing is that there is an annual ADO survey that the board members complete to review what they think of the board's management. And no, you haven't been sent that yet to them.
No, I got the random conflict of interest and was angry and
And so we will be asking you to look at if, that can be revised, if you would like to revise the survey at all.
Thank you very much. Okay, let me say that, please. We have gone to because we should have, but we also have because the authority follow. Let's just walk through the principal responsibilities. The oversight of our the questionnaire, the survey that we're about to get is not only is open to people that say that if the government's going to be able to review that the survey questions, some of them are not appropriate for our work, there are other questions that should be there for our work, then the government's going to have make changes. Are you going to go forward now with the 4 item on the agenda?
I am, and I'm going to give a little introduction to that about what the board has done this summer.
I was just going to ask where you want to put that.
Sure. So the board has, even though we haven't had a formal meeting since June well, before the summer did go on a field trip, and everyone who is here today, except for Orleans, I think, made that field trip. And we went up to see the construction of the Shaft 9B near the town of Marlborough, which is one of the shafts on the west side of the Hudson. It's being constructed to connect to what will be the Rondout West Branch Bypass Tunnel. Todd West, who is Director of Planning in the Bureau of Water Supply, George Smith, who is Construction Delivery Manager of the Water for the Future program, and Kelly Owusu Asiyama, who is Associate Project Manager, gave us an overview of that construction project. And they explained to us everything from the underwater vehicles that had gone through the tunnel to see where there were leaks that leak up to 35 million gallons of water a day, to how they had to re-landscape this property to make it fit into the surrounding road and the countryside, and also to do things like adjust the traffic lights so that the construction would not slow down traffic on the local roads. After having this above ground briefing, we went down the tunnel. I think it was to 687 feet. It was really cool and damp and kind of dark down there. And we saw a big earth moving machine and some people working to gather the debris that had been dynamited so that it can be lifted by a bucket to the top and dumped out of the top of the shaft so that they could place dynamite and go down another 10 feet. For those of you who were there, the current depth of the shaft as of yesterday was 740 feet, which is well on its way to its targeted depth of 860 feet. And we hope to have this shaft completed so that the contract can be turned over to the next contract to start work on the bypass tunnel in the spring of this place.
So thank you so much for organizing that. It's difficult in the abstract to appreciate the scale of some of our capital projects, to understand the myriad complexities that are involved, and seeing this project up close really made a lot of that more understandable, and appreciate your work in taking care of all people's things.
Thank you for all being interested. So, if we proceed to water board update. Collections so far this year are $27 million, or 2.1% ahead of plan. Since this is our first board meeting of this fiscal year, to recap the end of fiscal year 15, we ended the year $190 million, or 5.3% ahead of plan. This was $108 million, greater than we thought would be the case when we were projecting in March. And as you may remember, all of that money, the $190 million and whatever was not spent last year, rolls over into this year and goes first to pay debt service for the authority. As a result, we had fully funded the authority certification of of debt service and expenses by September 10th this year, which is comparable to when we funded it last year. We funded it last year on September 3rd. So currently, we are funding the city's O&M, and we have about $630 million of that left to go. Where we are in terms of at the end of August, comparing the year-to-date revenues to previous years, we were 1.5% ahead of plan at the end of August, which is comparable to last year. This summer, the average high temperature was 2 degrees higher than last year, and precipitation was an inch lower. So as a result, in the first 2 months of fiscal year 16, DEP distributed 5.5% more water than during the same period in fiscal year 15, and 1.5% more water than in fiscal year 14. In August, the average high was 87 degrees this year versus last year's 82 degrees, and the total precipitation was 1.9 inches versus 3.5 inches last year. So August, we distributed 8.3% more water this year than last year. That is due to things like open hydrants. When people are hot in the summertime, we just get out and play in the hydrants. When you look at what we actually sold, it's the same customer sales, which is on the properties that have meters that were billed on actuals in the same month this year and last year, the same customer sales was down 2.1%, that level of consumption. So in terms of, billed charges, that is down slightly, even though distribution was up.
Is that because of issues like road pilots and things that are on bill? Really, such a high percentage of these parties?
Sure, that is captured here, as are water main breaks. I mean, there were 6 more water main breaks in July and August this year than last year. So that's captured here, but not here. Sure.
The water main breaks unrelated to the number of changes that just add a lot of time in.
Yes. Upstate distribution, it's about 10% of our system demand, and it was comparable this year to last year. It's 2.1% greater in the month of July this year than last year. As I mentioned, this is the first meeting of the fiscal year. Just to recap what we billed to Upstate last year, there was $64 million of charges for entitlement water, which was about 82% of the total billings to Upstate, and $14.3 million for excess water, as well as there are some properties that are billed at the in-city rate because they are a commercial district or if they are an entity that connects that is not a municipality. Estimated bills were 3.6% in the month of August. This is comparable to last year. It's slightly higher than it was in July, but it's comparable to the number of estimated bills last August. Payment agreements. We're showing this slightly different from last time we showed this to the board. Over the course of fiscal year 15, 5,222 customers entered into payment agreements. This year so far, 566 customers have entered into payment agreements. 55% of these, or 50% of the agreement amounts, have been for the maximum term of 10 years, with only a 3% down payment. That the ability to go out 10 years and have zero down payment was part of the City Council's reauthorization of the payment agreement terms in 2012, December of 2012. At the end of August, 34,572 payment agreements were outstanding, of which 73% were in outstanding.
Is there a trend or anything you can see of what characteristics of those that are outstanding? Do those tend to be smaller payment agreements over a short period of time, or are they across the board that are necessarily the same?
I do not currently have any visibility into the agreements, but I'll look at that. You were told in June about the initial lien sale for this year that was in May, on May 15th. Since then, there was a subsequent lien sale on July 27th. 416 liens were sold with 4.5 million in return charges. The lien sale is our primary means of collection. Billing disputes. In fiscal year 15, DEP set a new 8-year low for billing disputes and water board appeals. The initial disputes and program requests, 12% were escalated to a deputy commissioner level, which was down from a 19% rate of escalation in the previous year. So we received 3,100 initial disputes in fiscal year 15. 869 deputy commissioner appeals, and 154 water board appeals. So far this year, it's only 2 months, but we're on a trend to have even fewer disputes.
You see, for this meeting, there's probably a certain reason why there's a spike in the not something
The spike was because of the small meter replacements, and when we've done a huge push install AMR, and there were a lot of
Actual bills.
actual bills
Keep out.
that had been estimated previously. And so people would get a new meter, and they'd get, they might have a final reading on the previous meter that was a big catch-up bill, and they might also have a leak that had been occurring, and now that they have a new meter, it would capture that, and they didn't know that there was a leak, so there was a big spike.
Yes,
And
I think she captured that.
Thank you.
Greg and I review appeals quickly, so. Leak forgiveness program. Last fiscal year, you expanded the leak forgiveness program to include maintainable plumbing fixtures, and such as a leaking toilet. And at that time, we estimated that it would be up to $4.1 million in forgiveness that was given last year. The total ended up being $2.6 million for 2,500 adjustments. It really picked up steam, as you can see, during the course of the year. And this year, it's continuing to grow. People are knowing that this is out there, that they can ask for forgiveness if they have a leak that they fix within a short period of time. I believe it's 90 days. And they are doing this. They're really requesting leak forgiveness. So it's been a great program for the board to offer. And in terms of the MyDEP account programs, slightly separately but sometimes confused, when somebody has a leak, and you notice it from their AMR data, we will send them a leak notification. So far, more than 92,000 customers have saved $79 million as a result of those leak notifications. Another program that we are promoting is the e-billing. And monthly e-billing, this year you have approved a $10 credit payable upon the third month that somebody receives a monthly e-bill. On August 13th, we sent an email to 233,000 customers asking them to enroll in monthly billing and e-billings. And that evening, more than 1,300 customers did so. So we saw a huge jump in the monthly e-billing that evening. When you look at comparing how many customers are currently getting monthly bills versus the total customers, about 9.5% of our customers are now on a monthly billing cycle. And when you compare e-billing customers to the total customers, about 8.3% of our customers are now receiving e-bills, which is comparable to other municipal water and sewer utilities, but we hope to do better and get closer to a private utility than our solution. Looking at customer collections, and this has become much easier to analyze now that we have one means of collection through Citibank, whereas we used to have several different bank accounts where money came in. Overall payment volume increased by 14,193 payments in August. Part of this could be to the fact that we do have more monthly billing customers who would now be paying monthly rather than quarterly. But when we look at the trends of where people are paying, the red payments increased by 25%, whereas remittance in the borough office payments decreased by 10%. There were a number of people mailing checks to borough offices or to our central remittance location that were being processed there. And we have made a concerted effort with Molly helping this year to really write to those customers and say, please mail your payments to the log box. So that's one of the reasons for that drop. When we look at the web in more detail, that 25% growth, it used to be that last year 24,000 customers paid through being enrolled to pay. They're enrolled, which means they're enrolled in MyDEP account and they click through to pay from there. That has dropped slightly, but the quick pay, which is now a button on our website where you can go and pay one time and you don't have to remember your password and log into the whole site, that has really seen growth from about 6,500 payments last August to 13,000 payments this August. The service line protection program continues to grow. 194,500 customers are enrolled now, which is about 29% of the total. This is really one of the strongest rates of enrollment that AWR sees across the country. They have 40% in some of their territories where the program is going on for more than 10 years, but they are very pleased with the involvement rate. In August, about 48% of the claims to which they responded were connected with sewer service line, and they were either cleaned or jetted, or the sewer service line is either cleaned or jetted. The water service line was a smaller percentage of their responses. Jetting is where they push water through to just jet it out and get whatever's stuck out of the line. Jetting. 323 claims were denied during the month of July. A number of them were when they got to the site, they didn't find an issue. A number, also 17%, were that the customer hired their own contractor and made their own repairs. So we had an annual meeting with AWR a couple weeks ago, and we asked them to please look at changing their marketing letter that goes out, burning, to make it clear that when the customer has an issue, they should call AWR and not try to fix it and ask for reimbursement or
That's 70% been one steady from over that.
it has pretty much. The number has been relatively steady.
When you say claims were denied, are there situations where you go in and decide that there's a problem not to repair?
There are some issues where if the customer had taken a jackhammer when there was, they would not repair. There's a clause for third-party incidents. If a third party affects the line and it's not in the warranty, then that would not be covered. But AWR has really been very helpful in working with us. There was a claim this week where the line, Con Ed's line, was too close. It had been a lead line that AWR replaced and then put in copper pursuant to the rules. And Con Ed's electricity wire was really, really close to that new copper wire, that copper line, and it caused an electrical reaction that damaged the service line within a year. And that is a third-party issue where Con Ed's, it was Con Ed's fault that the copper service line was destroyed. But I was on the phone with the general counsel yesterday working through this, and since it is under warranty and there was no communication with our customer that the warranty would not be upheld unless they worked with Con Ed to repair the electrical line. So AWR didn't communicate anything that this wouldn't be covered in the future, and so they are going to cover this incident. So we do deal with challenges like that where it really is a third-party incident, but they
It's very complex at times.
It is, because you dig and you don't know what you're going to find. They decided to fix it in the customer's reimbursement. And policies canceled. There are a number here that you see that are enrolled in ERA. That is really because we have one customer number for each account. And they have a customer number particular to that customer. When someone moves, the customer number for that property doesn't change for us, but it changes for them. And also when they do a re-enrollment, they have a slight change in their customer number. So it can create a duplication on our system. So we're working with that to try to fix that so that you don't see all these enrolled errors in the future. That re-enrollment was the main problem here.
Are there other questions? Great job, that's great. For standing in, for the record, you probably say that the petition will be here for that he is participating in the ceremony, promotions.
Yes. In your packets, there is a copy of the 2015 performance measurements and the 2015 operations and accomplishments. You do not have to act on that at all, but if you have any comments or questions, if you would let us know. items that we post on the web so that they are accessible to the public.
Is there any other business to come before the board? Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. President. Joe, thank you. All in favor? Indicate by aye. Aye. You are adjourned.